Leon, first of all, we would like to thank you for welcoming us at one of your beautiful hotel assets in Greece, Villa Ermou.
Thank you.
And of course for participating in our Global Thought Leadership Game Changer video series. Today we would like to talk with you about investment and human capital in tourism, especially because you are one of the most admired and very promising investor in hospitality with with multiple projects that either have gone live even during the pandemic or are about to globally. What are the upcoming trends of investment in hospitality?
Wow, that's a big and challenging question because everything changed within the COVID years. Last 2 years, the whole prospect changed. COVID is here to stay for another couple of years at least. So we're talking about 4 or 5 years crisis that changes trends. My gut feeling is that we will all go to a little bit more organic investments, meaning not to start from scratch and build a new city or something from scratch, but rather go organically and convert existing places, develop existing sites. I think that starting from scratch with megalomaniac projects, I think that people are quite reluctant to do so. And if you start with where there's already a beginning, like a city that is successful, or a site, construction site, property that is already successful, and you're converting it, adding it, enlarging it, this is, I think, maybe a little bit more organic. At least this is what guides us.
What about the innovations that we are about to see in the coming years in the industry?
I think that innovation these days is an inherent part of what we do and what people do. I think that it's not like you have the innovation officer in the company that thinks. I think it's now inherent within companies, at least within our company. And travel tech, for sure, in my industry will be very strong from the phase of before the trip starts, planning the trip, finding the sites, planning the route where you'd go if it's a sightseeing. If you do road tripping, then you'll have apps that will show you where to stop and to calculate if it's electrical car, what are the distances. If it is actual during the stay, during the vacation or the business trip, you'll be connected to people that think like-minded, that are like-minded around you, or you'll plan your walking trip, like there's Waze or Google Maps with cars. You have the same with when you walk, and attraction and sites will come up at you as long as you go. Money transferring. The whole concept of concierge and planning your trip is totally different. And being communal, not only couch surfing and Airbnb, but sharing your experiences will be totally different in the next couple of years. And when it comes to hotels, it won't be just beautiful design, which will always be nice and good experience to be with, but rather to how you make the best out of your stay wherever you stay, how you become beneficial to the city you're in. We don't want to do what happened. We don't want the crisis that happened in Barcelona with over-tourism to happen again. Athens is the next, we call it Athens is the next Berlin, but we don't want it to be Berlin. We want it to be Athens like Athens can be, like the most creative, the most fun, and very unique and local. So I think that the trends, I wouldn't call it a trend, but the apps and the travel tech and turning everything into high tech is here to stay.
Why is it important for someone to invest in Athens?
Wow. Athens for me is like the cradle of Western culture. There's so much to grow, so much to do. You have so many properties that are interesting and are still relatively priced well. There's so much room to grow in terms of hospitality. Athens in itself is very spread out. You don't have very tall buildings in Athens, which means that you can actually walk. It's very human size. For an investor, you have a huge room to show your strength, whatever strength it is. But if you're modern, go modern. If you're high-tech, go high-tech. If you're traditional, go traditional. But there's so much heritage, culinary advantages, great inflow of tourists. There's so much money coming in now, so much capital coming into to Athens with worldwide companies, mainly Europeans, but not only. There's so much demand in terms of clients. With 33 million visitors in Greece and only 5.5 in Athens, there's so much more room to grow, even if you catch 10% in the next couple of years, and then it's a huge growth.
Leon, for you as an investor, in general, what are the characteristics of an attractive destination?
Another good question. So for us, we need, well, the main thing is sort of an arbitrage, the gap between the value of the property and the demand. If the touristic demand is strong and the value of the property is relatively low, and then there's business. And you know, we see where we can upside the investment. But if it's a beautiful place and everybody knows it's beautiful, then I don't see my advantage. I don't see how can I be creative and maybe add some glitz or have a story behind an investment and then do it. So that's maybe the first thing. The second thing is infrastructure. A place that is totally run down and the area is totally run down, one property will face huge difficulties in ramping it up. In Omonia, for example, the infrastructure is not amazing, but the municipality is doing a lot and really investing in this area. And we already have 9 properties around the area, and we're thinking of how can we buy or rent some shops and rent it to creative people at a cost so that we bring cool and creative people. How can we attract more investors and local investors to develop things as well? So in Omonia, for example, we felt that there is a huge room to grow, but usually we need certain infrastructure. For example, we invest now in the island of Evia. That is not considered to be a high-end destination currently, but with only an hour away from drive from Athens, I think it's a huge plus. You just go over the weekend, just 1 hour, no ferries, no timetable. You go whenever you want, and you're feeling you're in an island. So again, proximity or a certain infrastructure in the area is important. Incentives are always important. Hospitality is very volatile. A couple of years you'll have 2018, 2019 were amazing, and then 2020 and 2021 were devastating because of COVID. Even worse than other areas. You know, retail didn't suffer as much. So I think that for hospitality, incentives are important and subsidies are important. We're now developing huge development in Croatia, for example. And the fact that the EU and the government is helping is something that is very helpful. The fourth is a bureaucracy and the length of time we can get into the market. We're not fans of lengthy projects of 17,000 years. We want to come in and within 11 or 12 years, bang, we have a property and we can introduce it into the market. We operate quite fast, we're dynamic, we think of ourselves as young, although you can see all the wrinkles here. And when bureaucracy comes and really stops us, and every permit takes 3 years, and then we're like, why? There are countries where we operate and we stopped. Here in Greece, we felt that although this is a heavily bureaucratic country and processes take time, we feel that it's still manageable, and there are good consultants that can help us, and we get very good backwind from the government and from municipalities. We meet with mayors, and they really want to help, and then the process is measurable. We have some certainty, and we know that, okay, we can actually begin this year. For mid-season next year, we will always already be open. This is something that is important to us, and we appreciate. So all those things combined are good. The last thing is this magic secret. It's this, in French you say je ne sais quoi. It's this secret ingredient that you don't know what a certain city or a certain destination has a magic and has an amazing feel to it, and another no. So you can't really measure it. You need to come and spend some time and immerse yourself within the community and say, okay, will they accept me well? Will it be fun? Will the guests be happy? Will my team open their chakras, their creative chakras, and open up to this destination? Will my guests fall in love with this destination as much as I do? And if all five are met, all 5 boxes are checked, then we're going all in. So in Athens we went all in, and then Thessaloniki, and then Evia, and then Otaki, and then Agios Theodori, and then Corfu, and then the color of the water and the food, and wow, we have to have several hotels, not one.